Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 10th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Dick, will you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Rebecca McClure.
She's excused this week.
Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, now move on to the approval of our previous meeting's minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes? Would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those minutes are approved. Now move on to department head reports. First up is Police Department, Chief Morgan.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department responded to 660 calls for service. A total of 20 people were arrested for the following crimes: 2 for driving while suspended, 2 for operating while intoxicated, 1 for possession of marijuana, 2 for possession of meth, 1 for unlawful possession of a syringe, 1 for dealing marijuana, 1 for dealing meth, 1 for possession of controlled substance, 1 for neglect of a dependent, 1 for invasion of privacy, and 7 wanted on warrants. In that same time, 9 handgun carry licenses were sent off to the state for final approval. Then the week of January 27th to the 31st, CSI Colleen Clark went to the Academy for Instructor Development and got certified, so now she is a law enforcement instructor and can start teaching some of the stuff she knows. February 4th and 5th, Officers Tyrese Griffin and Austin McCloskey completed the training course, Policing the Teen Brain. This course has physical and psychological, is put on by medical instructors that help explain the physical and psychological changes our brains go through for teenagers, the age 13 to 17. This training helps teach our officers how to better deal with juveniles in that age and why they do what they do. Our current hiring process is now down to 13 applicants. The interviews will be February 26th. We are still shooting for mid-April for our hire date. And then we'll be doing a promotion ceremony on February 19th for the 7 officers that got promoted this year. Like to see a lot of people there, support the officers as they become supervisors. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board for the chief?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 131 emergency calls of service, logged 285 training hours, performed 70 commercial inspections, and we've installed 2 car seats. Lieutenants Jason Adams and Matt Young have completed their Instructor 2-3 certification. This is an advanced level certification, kind of a secondary education in their fire service career. This will allow these 2 lieutenants to host classes for outside agencies within our department. Very proud of them. Our 2 lateral transfers will be participating in their polygraph examination on February 12th. We are working towards a hire date in the middle of March. Engineer Gabe Westerfeld has started his Fire Officer 2 certification. This is also an upper level certification that we asked our senior firefighters and officers to get, and Gabe started that, and it'll take him about a month to get it finished up. LFD is once again participating in the American Lung Association's Fight for Air Climb. The climb is located at the Salesforce Tower in downtown Indianapolis. Firefighters will make the 47-story climb in full turnout gear, including SCBA pack, and this is all to raise money for the American Lung Association. If you would like to support Lebanon Fire in this cause, you can contact me at 485-3014 or Jason Adams at jadams@lebanon.in.gov. Over the month of February, you'll see firefighters out in local waterways participating in ice and cold water rescue techniques. So that might be an odd sight for some to see. We posted some pictures today on social media, so don't be alarmed if you see that. They'll be training heavily. We do ask that people stay off the ice in these conditions as the temperature rises and falls, and it's a very dangerous situation. So please stay off the ice. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board? Any questions from,
Good luck in the climb.
Thank you.
any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up, Parks Department, John Messenger.
Good evening, and congratulations, Mayor, on the addition there. That's great. Nice big baby boy. Congratulations. Happy for you and Abby. Great deal. Our park fam, or our city family grew by one.
Thank you, John.
There you go. We are now hiring for Seashore Water Park lifeguards. Visit our website for an application or stop in to the Parks office, pick one up. You have to be 15 years or older to apply. We completed first round of open interviews 3 Saturdays ago. Went very well. We're going to have those again coming up this Saturday, February 15th from 10 to 3 at the park office. Stop in and we'll get an interview right away right there. You can fill out your application also. We also teamed up with YMCA to help us out certify lifeguards. It's really nice to team up with them. Great support out there. Making good progress on a few projects we have going on around the park. The 2 or 3 we're really focusing on, obviously, is the restroom. It's way ahead of schedule. We'll open up early spring here. Hopefully it'll turn soon. Way ahead of schedule on that in the maintenance addition. Looking really good. Pretty soon you'll see the cobblestone going up. Maybe not this week with 1 degree, 2 degree temperatures, but the following week it's supposed to be in the 40s. They'll get that moving along. The other project we're focusing in on is Civic Rec software and our park impact fees. That's going very well. We have another meeting coming up in next week. Moving forward on that. Probably have something before the council in May is what I'm hoping. Excited to announce 2020 Daddy-Daughter Dance, Saturday, March 21st from 6 to 9. Snacks, dancing, special appearance by Olaf and Elsa. So that's always a big park event. Tickets are $20 a couple, $5 for each additional child, and tickets can be purchased in the park office. Also excited to announce we teamed up with Let's Go Sports. We've had good success with them on our soccer program for the Little Tykes in the past. Now we have 3 new programs, Tiny Rackets, Junior Rackets, and Lacrosse Camp. Sessions will be held throughout our various parks. For more information, just visit our website or contact the park office. They're filling up, so get out there and contact. It's going to be great. Also, another little event that we've done is Pictures in the Park. It's still going on our new sign out in front of Memorial Park. We welcome any pictures what the community has of having fun in our parks or enjoying the parks. Send us a picture on our Facebook page and we will post them as they come in each week. And then we'll give the person a message telling them it's up there so they can come out, walk the park and see it. And that's all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Engineering Department, Kim Krulik.
Good evening, board members. Engineering report for, February 10th. Going through projects. Not a lot happening anymore downtown, as you know, and we've heard in the past. We're essentially wrapped up there. But there are a few outstanding items that will take place this spring. Just to remind everybody that's some tree lawn fencing along Washington Street, some tree and shrub replacements as soon as the weather breaks. Meridian Street sidewalks will be wrapped up, as well as the Meridian Street resurfacing, in addition to a few other repair items that are still ongoing. But essentially that work is halted, with the exception of some of the work that the county is doing at the courthouse. But remind you to also keep an eye out for the Heart of Lebanon. They're still updating their Facebook page daily with those construction updates. The other major project that we have going is also kind of at a stall right now with the weather, but that's Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2. Really, the only work that's going on right now is some electrical wiring for the street lighting. You might have saw the street lights go up a couple of weeks back, so they're working on getting the electrical wrapped up to turn those lights on. Other than that, though, all the other work is really weather dependent. Those are the sidewalks, the driveways, the driveway approaches, landscaping, asphalt surfacing, striping, signage. All that work is scheduled to get ramped up here in the spring. So look for updates on City of Lebanon's Facebook page, as well as through our email distribution list from the engineering department. We'll keep you posted as we begin to ramp that project back up. Pavement resurfacing, not a lot to update you on there, other than we did receive our purchase orders from NDOT. As soon as the funding is put in place on those purchase orders, we'll be able to issue our notices to proceed on the contracts, and we'll move forward with that. Sidewalk replacement programs, we are moving forward with right-of-way acquisitions on Lafayette Avenue, Witt Road, and Riley Road. Citizens that might live in those areas, you may get a knock on your door and a letter in your mailbox in the next coming weeks from our right-of-way acquisition managers that are looking to acquire that right-of-way so that we can construct those sidewalks. Witt Road Bridge, also in that general area, we held our kickoff meeting for the design of the Witt Road Bridge last week. Just remind everyone, this is about an $800,000 budget. We do hope to be eligible for Community Crossing Matching Grant to reimburse us about 50% of that project. That will be in July. And this also then ties in with another project in that immediate vicinity. Was able to find out today through the NDOT website that we were not successful in our bid for 2025 grant monies for County Road 250 North. So it doesn't change the plan. We'll continue to work on raising money and acquiring grants for those projects. But to remind everyone, we're looking at the Witt Road Bridge and widening the county road cross sections of Witt Road, as well as the cross sections of County Road 250 North, to kind of accommodate the growth that we're seeing in those areas in the coming years. Grant Street, just some brief updates there. We'll continue to work on permitting at the county, state, and federal levels. We are going to pull our storm sewer outlet construction out of the Grant Street project and going to construct that as its own standalone project. This is just to help coordinate things with the bridge replacement that the county will be doing. The county is canceling that project for 2020, but it will be back on their docket for 2021. So in the meantime, when we get to summer of this year, 2020, we will try to do some storm sewer work in the intersection with Ann and William Street to get out of the way of that bridge for their construction project the following year. We have tentatively also set a date for a public information meeting on the Grant Street project as February 27th that evening. So we'll be sending out notices to all the individuals that live in that corridor affected by that project so they can come out and see how that project is developing. Keep in mind, this is still a 2023 construction project for the construction of Grant Street. Also in that area, Fordyce Street, we are working on further defining our scope for that project. We're also exploring options so that we can extend the trail that we had planned to build with Fordyce from Grant to John Bart Road. We'd like to extend that trail west and connect that trail system to the East Street trail system. So we're working with our engineers as GAI consultants to develop that scope and to put those necessary contracts in place. We are tentatively looking at a schedule that could have us under construction in 2021 and try to complete that before we get to the federal aid project on Grant Street in 2023. Lebanon Bike Park, we had our community workshop, took place on Tuesday the 28th. Happy to report we had 80-plus people in attendance. That was great turnout for that one. We had over 20 people that were out at the site assessment representing various stakeholders from public groups such as the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, Hoosier Mountain Bike Association, Tippecanoe Mountain Bike Association, Griffin Bike Park, Sundance Mountain Bike Skills Clinic, and several others have all been represented. We've had really outstanding support. But since that meeting on the 28th, we've accepted all of those comments that we heard from the public and those various stakeholders. We have a revised concept plan that we've been circulating to our stakeholders just to get some more feedback, but we're hoping to wrap that concept plan up and distribute that for public information purposes later this week. So look for that. We'll probably start that off through our social media feeds as well. Also on that project, we've been working with ATC and Associates on the IDEM permitting for that. Again, another good conversation with IDEM. They are very complimentary to such a reuse and are looking forward to this project. We have a tentative meeting, a pre-filing meeting set up with them on the 28th of the month, just to review those requirements before we would get to any kind of a final plan or even consider filing a project. Funding support has also been expressed by local advocacy groups as well as some regional bike shops and national bike manufacturers. None that I can report right now, but I am happy to report there are some people very excited about the project and willing to write some nice sized checks for the project. So we'll keep you posted as those things come forward. Keep in mind that everybody, this is a relatively small project. This is a $350,000 project. Regional detention. Regional detention is coming back to the forefront again, especially with some of the development we've seen in the business park over the last year. We're working with our consultants, Christopher Burke, to further refine our strategies and concepts to expand the first regional detention pond that we built, what we refer to as the middle pond, as well as an additional lower pond, which would be somewhere north of State Road 32, and the third pond, which we refer to as the upper pond, which is east of State Road 39. So we're working with them to develop those concepts so that we can be ready as future development comes in those areas. There will be a couple of task orders for your consideration totaling about $67,000 later tonight that we'll be talking about. And I just would remind you that this is a stormwater project funded by the Stormwater Fund. The contracts that were originally in place for this were originally executed by the Stormwater Board, and we're still working off of those contracts that were a task order-based contract form. Sunbrook Villas, do want to report that the Sunbrook Villas sanitary sewer construction is ongoing. They are looking to cross 250 North. You might have reported that they had posted some signs about closing the road on the 10th. Well, they didn't get our permission, that wasn't going to happen, and we told them they needed to take those signs down and they would not be able to close the road. But they've came back to us and expressed a lot of concerns with the safety of traffic and the safety of their workers trying to make that crossing under traffic. We are sympathetic to those, especially those safety concerns. So we are working with them to do some night closures that would minimize traffic. We counted traffic in the corridor over the last year, so we understand traffic is pretty heavy almost all day, but really drops off after about 9 p.m. and is pretty slow till about 7 a.m. in the morning when people start going to work. So that's what the constraints we put on them. If you're going to cross there and close the road, it has to be done at night. They think it'll be a 2-night closure and will happen sometime the week of the 24th. So we'll keep you all posted there as that gets further refined. Gateway Marketplace, just to remind everyone that, yes, we're aware the stoplights aren't up. The state will not let us put those up until those businesses begin to open. But happy to report that Burger King and Moe's are really beginning to take shape, and we expect those to open in the spring, and hopefully we'll get to that warrant analysis threshold for the state. I also did get an update today on the Culver site. They are expecting to open March 9th, so a little over a month away. Road impact fees study. We'll talk more about this at the council meeting, but did want to update everyone on that. We're nearing the final push to complete that project. I say that, but we're still probably 8 months away from wrapping that up. We've essentially completed all the traffic counting and intersection counting, and we're ready to move into the analysis phase. But we've got some issues we need to overcome with funding of the original study contract, as well as establishing some committees that are required per state code to adopt the road impact fee ordinance. So more to come at the council meeting on that, but that's all I have for you this evening. Any questions or concerns you might have?
Hey, Kevin, any questions from the board?
No.
Question?
I got one. Kevin, the closing of 250, and allowing them to work at night.
Yes.
I mean, we got some pretty close residents right there. Is that really going to be kind of disturbing them at night? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking at 250, and probably the only real people using 250 are the ones cutting across the 39 to maybe get to Walmart. And yeah, they can go around for a couple days, as opposed to me. I'm just looking. I would hate to be there and I got construction workers working at the night.
I understand. I guess what I found with the traffic counts, it was maybe a little bit, that I found interesting. There's about 1,800 cars a day that use 250 North, so it's maybe busier than you might think. And I would say the average is about 80 cars per hour, pretty much all day outside of that 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. time frame. It's pretty steady up there. We thought there might be a window in the middle of the day we could let them close it, but I'd hate to start turning away 100-plus cars in a given hour at times during the middle of the day. I'm open to conversations there. We just thought the least impactful thing would be to do it at night. I understand and sympathetic that construction is noisy, and that's obviously an issue with constructions in the middle of the night. This type of construction isn't really that noisy, but obviously there are backup sensors and things like that you can hear pretty much any time of the day if they're going off. But I'm open to whatever direction the board might have on that.
If they did a day closure, is it still a 2-day project, or is it a?
They're hopeful that it would be less than 2 days, but they feel like they need to ask for 2 days due to potential unforeseen circumstances that may come up. It's
Depending on
about
the weather.
17 feet
Yeah.
deep, so.
I mean, I probably kind of agree with you too, Dick. I mean, I think I'd rather see a day closure and just have people make sure they're aware of when it's going to happen.
Okay.
If we communicate that and we know the days it's going to happen, and I think give notice earlier, I think that's a better scenario than maybe disturbing people at night. I probably agree with that. I don't think it necessarily has to be at night. It's not like it's not a highway, right? It's not I mean, and there are other routes available.
Okay.
So I think if we just give people enough notice, I think that's the best option during the day, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just do. I think leaving it with homes that are close and construction, I know how equipment is and making
Yeah.
noise, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it. And just, I know there's a lot of cars that go there, but, a couple days they can go around,
They can't.
I'd agree. I'd have someone they had to drive around versus they were kept up all night, so.
Sure.
That's all right?
Yeah.
Nope, happy to, I'll relay that message and we'll keep going in that direction.
I think if we give people 2 weeks' notice or so, that's, or really even a week notice, I think is enough to say, hey, just FYI.
Yes.
You've had signs that are up there. I mean,
The signs say
it's not like,
on or
it's
after
total
February 10th,
surprise that They're kind of
so,
anticipating that that's going to get closed, so I think the day thing is.
Well, it's such a short closure, even if it's a day or two, I don't have any huge concerns
I'm
with that.
hopeful it would be a day, but
Okay.
utility work, 20 feet
never know.
underground is,
Yep,
things
absolutely.
happen, so.
I think everybody probably thinks somebody's gonna do something with the railroad and not utility work on it.
Yeah, we had a
First thing
few
I thought of was
calls.
the railroad
Yeah.
doing something, and then I asked you, so.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I
Questions from the public? Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Plan Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning Department report for this evening. We continue to remain busy, even though we seem to be dealing with rain or snow about every other day. Construction continues to be active. We completed another 38 building inspections over the last couple of weeks and issued 16 new permits. 2 of those were new residential houses. So that's still, even though we're kind of in the winter season, we are still seeing some permits being issued in residential neighborhoods, so that's a good sign. In terms of code enforcement, that still is one of our hot button issues that we're continuing to work on. Trash and debris in vehicles and parking continues to remain kind of a big, significant endeavor for us. In particular, for things like recreational vehicles parked illegally, I know is a big one for us, and also junk vehicles. So we're still really hitting that up quite a bit. We've got a good relationship with the police department. Thank you to those guys. They've got a guy that goes out every other week with Makeda, so we can run vehicle plates, et cetera, and figure out what's actually got the correct plates and what doesn't. So that's a good relationship, and that's really moving forward. In terms of other things, I just wanted to announce that the building inspector and code enforcement positions, assistant planner positions have been posted on the city's website. So if anybody's interested in either one of those positions, go to lebanon.in.gov. If you use the Lebanon pull down right at the very bottom, there is one for job board, and both of those positions, job descriptions have been posted there. So if anybody's interested in those, they can pull those down. If they have any questions, feel free to call me, 482-8845. I think that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up, Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's everybody this evening? Let's see, we've been pretty busy cleaning off drains from all the rain over the weekend. Try to stay ahead of that, keep much water as we can out of the yards, off the streets, into our drain. We had a few sign repairs. One's right over here. I think a truck hit it or something. We did have the crew out Thursday, obviously, for all the ice we had. We pre-treated before, so that helped a lot, and then we went out early in the morning before the traffic, and then school got canceled, so that even helped more, or on our end anyway, for the kids. So a lot of ice. We'd rather have the snow than the ice. It took us 58 tons of material, if that tells you what ice does to us, and about almost $5,000, so ice is a different animal, but I don't thank my guys for coming out so early, and, just, they always pull away from their families, and we get it done, and I couldn't ask for more from them. We got a great crew and a great staff at the street department, so we got all the salt trucks cleaned back up, but maybe we'll be done with them, I don't know. Optimistic, very optimistic. We received 32 calls since our last meeting. 2 of those were for brush. I don't know. 13 recycling and trash. 3 walk-ins, a lot of Facebook comments for various reasons, mostly positive, just saying how they'd put us up against anybody, which that's good for us, good for the city. We had 1 stormwater and 3 thank yous that were walk-ins, but yeah, we had a lot of Facebook compliments. We had 1 complaint about they didn't see no salt on 39, and we explained to them that's state road. So, but they'd already treated it anyway. They just don't use the salt like we do.
Yep.
But it went good.
Okay, any questions for Dave from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Communications, Community Development, Joe LePage.
Evening, everyone. You may have seen it on social media, but if not, announcing that Boone County Summerfest is coming up on June 7th. That's a Sunday from noon until 10 p.m. That's 10 hours of live music and featuring The Do, Groove Smash, 45 RPM, the Tim Newman Band, the Naughty Yachties, and Dave and Ray. That's on 2 stages downtown Lebanon. Free to attend, fun for all ages, great food and beverages. More information will be coming out fairly soon, but really looking forward to bringing a really great day of music. A lot of different genres coming downtown. Just finished up and uploaded today episode 25 of our Love in Lebanon podcast. We sat down and chatted with Bob and Kathy Donaldson. You know that Valentine's Day is coming up. They're with obviously Donaldson Finer Chocolates, celebrating more than 50 years in business. We talked about their favorite chocolates, kind of growing up in the chocolate business, and also we kind of took a step back and reflected on the life of George Donaldson. Just a great chat with Bob and Kathy. That'll be up tomorrow on the city's social media pages, and also iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. A reminder that coming up on February 29th is the 4th annual Savor Lebanon event. Craft beer and wine, great food. Darlington Road will be playing. Tickets are still on sale now. The Community Development Department is taking steps towards creating a cultural district through the Indiana Arts Commission that would help establish arts and culture throughout the downtown area, utilizing the arts for economic development, also tourism in our community. Our letter of intent is due on February 27th. It will be filed, and we'll take the next steps and continue that journey there. And finally, Ben Bontrager and Rachel Huser with the Boone EDC and myself are headed to Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow. We'll be attending a Retail Attraction Academy. It will help us as Lebanon be able to attract retail establishments to our city through tips, data, development of relationships. And so really looking forward to getting down there and not just tied to one part of our community, but throughout, being able to help establish communication, relationships, and attraction tools for retail in our community. So looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes what I have for department head reports. We'll move on to old business. Last meeting, we had our MS4 contract from Christopher Burke. I want to bring that back up. I need a motion to bring that off the table. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we bring that project back on the table.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All right, turn it over to Kevin now to reintroduce this topic.
Yeah, thank you. This is, as we talked about last time, and I apologize for the oversight that this did not go out with the agenda packets prior to the last meeting, but this is an on-call stormwater services contract. This is different than the contracts I mentioned in my department head report, but this is for assistance with managing our stormwater utility responsibilities from the state. The contract is with Christopher Burke. Christopher Burke has helped us manage this contract for a number of years. I believe since the inception of our stormwater utility, they've helped us manage this contract, and we obviously have a really good relationship with them. We want to continue that relationship. In the past, though, these contracts have always just been executed by our stormwater board. It's time to actually update these contracts and have them executed by the Board of Works. So that's why we're here before you. Again, this is a stormwater contract funded by the Stormwater Fund. We're not asking for any additional or special appropriation. We're just asking for your permission to execute this contract with Christopher Burke in the sum of $35,000, subject to legal review and with an authorization for the mayor to execute that contract.
Any questions from the board for Kevin? Would entertain a motion then concerning the MS4 contract with Christopher Burke.
I'll make a motion, we approve the MS4 agreement with Christopher Burke Engineering.
Can you make that subject to final legal review?
Subject to
and
review
authorization?
by the city legal and signature by the mayor.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that contract is approved. That concludes what I have for old business. Anything from the board? Okay, new business then. Regional detention contract. Kevin?
Thank you. These contracts were in your packet, and this is what I was referring to in my department head report a few moments ago. So what we have here, there were 3 documents that were sent to you. Again, this is for on-call professional services for managing our stormwater regional detention system. Again, by Christopher Burke. They're the ones that put together the regional stormwater detention plan. They also have done a lot of our floodplain mapping and studies in Lebanon as well as throughout Boone County. Again, this is where they specialize, and this is a contract that we've had in place for a number of years. In fact, this contract actually goes back to 2015. In 2015, they entered into this contract for these professional services with the Stormwater Board for $174,000. We've roughly spent about $82,000 of that contract. So that contract was meant to last a number of years and just sort of be an on-call services agreement for as projects came up that participated in the regional detention system. We would write task order agreements and we would execute those for this work. So of the original $174,000, as I said, there's about $92,000 that we have not spent. So what's before you is, rather than, we thought, trying to reassign this contract from Stormwater to the Board of Works, we thought we would just provide a new contract for the remainder. So that's what you see there with the contract that says City of Lebanon Stormwater On-Call Services, Professional Services Proposal for $92,000. So we have that contract, and if we want to take these one at a time, then I can get into the task order work that's associated with that.
I think we're going to be able to do a motion for all three at the same time. So
Okay.
go ahead and introduce them. Yeah.
So again, this is just, cleaning things up. This is putting the remainder of that contract under the authority of the Board of Works. And then, as I said, this is a task order-based contract, so as we need work from them, we ask for additional task orders. There are 2 task orders that we have asked them for, and I alluded to these earlier, but one is the sanitary ditch lower and middle pond evaluations. So we built the middle pond, if you might remember, about 3 years ago associated with the Ken's Foods project. Well, since then, we've had projects immediately adjacent to that, the D.S. Smith project that can utilize that pond, as well as then the Festool expansion, which really needs to go into what we would refer to as the lower regional pond, which was proposed to be built north of State Road 32. So this task order is for $17,000 for the sanitary ditch lower and middle ponds evaluations. This is there to help us size those ponds for those new projects, to help us look and evaluate proposed locations for the third lower regional pond system. And again, this is a $17,000 task order for the sanitary ditch lower and middle pond evaluation. Then the third pond in the system is the upper pond. It's the pond that would be located someday in between State Road 39 and 65, or in the Enterprise development area, where we would extend Enterprise Drive through this area down to Hallbaker Road at some point in the future. So again, we've had a lot of expression of interest for these parcels that are there, that are all on the market for redevelopment. And so we want to stay ahead of that and begin evaluating that third pond. Particularly, we want to prepare construction drawings, preliminary drawings for a channel that will go from that pond to State Road 39, as well as then upgrading the culvert that goes underneath State Road 39, and then help us to develop potential funding strategies and compensation packages for the purchase of land and the development of that pond with regional detention fees. This one is a little more expensive, $50,000. Again, so that's a total task orders of these two of $67,000, well within the $92,000 that we are currently under contract for, have yet to be expended, that we are reorganized under a new contract with the Board of Works. That was a lot. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, any questions for Kevin on that?
No.
Okay. So then I would entertain a motion to approve the regional detention contract, assignment, and task orders,
I make a motion that
pending final legal review and authorizing me to sign your behalf.
Right. I make a motion that we approve the regional detention contract, assignment, and task order, subject to legal review and mayor's signature.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that contract and assignments and task orders are approved. Thank you, Kevin. Next up is a downtown street closure request from Ben Bontrager for Grace Food Truck.
Good evening, Board. You may recall back in December, we did a similar request for the Grace Food Truck and this is not a street closure request, but for lack of a better term, this would essentially be setting aside some parking spaces on the square to allow them to park there during the day. They have been coming some days for both breakfast and lunch. So this would essentially set aside those spaces so when they get here in the morning, there's spaces available for them. What we're doing this time is the last time we gave them 3 days, 2 of those 3 days there was snow and no spaces were available at all, so they were only able to come 1 day. But in the 1 day where they were here with ice on the sidewalks, they still had much better traffic than they do at the location down here by City Hall. So they're seeing a huge benefit to being up there where there's better visibility and foot traffic around the square. So what we'd like to do, and this is an opportunity for us to kind of try it out for a longer period of time, and in essence to see whether it's a benefit to having them there, and also making sure that we're not really causing a huge issue with parking downtown by having a couple of spaces set aside during the week. So what this would be is essentially setting aside a series of parking spaces. I don't know if the overhead's on. Look at this again, if you're familiar, this would be, and the yellow here would be the spaces that are directly adjacent to the little pocket park. It's got visibility from the square. We'd essentially be setting aside these spaces Monday through Friday for a month to allow them the space to set aside to park there during the day, and just see how it goes. This is kind of a test case to see if this is something that's a benefit to our downtown to have additional options like this, a little bit different kind of options, and make sure that we're not causing any long-term issues with parking in the downtown. We certainly don't want to put it right on the square, but something right off of there. We're just going to try it out. If it does not go well, we get a lot of complaints about parking, we certainly won't do it permanently, but this will give us an idea of what issues it may cause. If this location is good or bad, maybe we try something else, but this would give them the ability to give it a shot. So what the request would be is to essentially reserve these parking spaces, maybe is a better term, from February 12th, which would be this Wednesday, until Friday, March 13th, Monday through Friday, and then we'd have them open on the weekends.
How many parking spaces, Ben?
I think that's 4 there. They probably, the length of their truck and trailer really only needs 2, but just to give them space to get in and out, I'd hate for a car to be parked right behind there and have it either hard for them to get in, or God forbid they would actually clip a car trying to get in and out of there, because they're pretty long. I think that between their truck and trailer is something like 40-some feet.
And what hours?
It'd essentially be, we would just set them aside Monday through Friday.
All day?
Yeah.
Just this week?
No, it'd be for a month.
For a month?
So it'd be
Monday through Friday?
February 12th through March 13th.
Okay, well, what's the time during the day?
It would essentially be set aside 24 hours, 5 days a week.
24 hours?
Isn't there a daycare down in there?
There is. I mean, there's still 3/4 of the block for parking, and a lot of them park around on East Street too, so there's a lot of parking still available. I know they've been up there, they were up there before, and got good traffic. We didn't hear any concerns with the other times they parked there. I will say in the last week or so, they have been parking on the south side of this intersection. They go up there for 2 hours, so they don't eclipse our 2-hour parking time. So they have been up there over the last couple of weeks, and we haven't heard any concerns about them being up there over lunchtime either, so. Something we're trying out. If it's a massive failure, we won't do it again, but we wanted to give them a shot to try it out, and certainly we can be open to, if it really goes poorly over the next week or two, we can certainly remove the cones and turn them back into regular parking.
My only question, has anybody talked to has there been any concern from the other restaurants downtown with them?
Not that I have heard. And of course, what they're serving is totally different than what you can eat at Greeks or Arnie's also. So they're not direct competitors. My philosophy always is the more the better. You get more people coming downtown to eat, so it's rather than being competition, or actually creating a destination. And so since they're not direct competitors in terms of the kind of food, I'm not as concerned about that, but I have not heard anything from any of those folks.
Well, I guess I don't mind the food truck, it's just the thought that, we're providing them a space, and we got restaurants that, I guess, Arnie's they got a parking lot, and they don't have a dedicated space in front of their place, and neither does Calvin's, or neither does the other pizza joint, Greeks. They don't have a
Dedicated
specified parking space,
Yeah.
dedicated parking space, so.
Well, but
I
the space isn't
don't know if
for,
that's a concern or not, I don't know.
but the space isn't for the customers, it's for the actual vehicle.
Do what?
The space isn't for the customers, I mean, they park on the square,
Yeah,
it's just the.
yeah. I guess we won't know unless it bothers, really, the daycare is the only, my
Yeah.
thought of people dropping kids off,
Because they're
picking them
going,
up. If that's
right
enough,
through there.
if they have enough room, that'd be the,
And I know the last time they were there, they had some people that stopped by over there to get coffee that were dropping kids off. So I know they were aware that they were there, but
okay.
nobody called us to complain, so.
they did or didn't?
They did not.
Oh,
We have
okay.
not necessarily heard any complaints. And I know they've been down there probably at least 2 or 3 times in the last week, parked on the south side of this intersection, and nobody's complained about them being there. Actually, I think one day, one of the businesses adjacent actually just gave them a bunch of money and paid for a bunch of free lunches one day, so I think they appreciated them being down there, so.
Good.
questions, concerns?
I'm going to ask a really crazy question now. Do they pay food and beverage tax here?
That's an excellent question. I'm not sure how that works for a food
How's that
truck.
work for a
I know they
traveling-
charge tax, but I'm not sure how that's,
I believe they should be, if they're located in Boone County, I think they should be charging food and beverage tax.
Yeah, is that Boone County their home base? Is that, or are they,
Boone County is their
Yeah.
home base. Yeah, they're from Zionsville.
they're from Zionsville? So I would assume then they're paying a food and beverage tax here to Lebanon
Yeah,
for.
I know they
to set
charge
up.
tax on lunch.
I would assume,
so
I
would
guess.
assume they
I
are.
don't know. I don't
That's a good
know
question.
how they work, how that works.
Frankly, I'm willing to give it a try, and if we hear feedback, I mean, again, this is kind of a newer concept for downtown. I mean, obviously downtown parking is a premium always as well too, but also I think having more dining options is a good thing as well, so I'm willing to give it a try if you guys are.
Yeah, let's try it.
Then would entertain a motion to approve the street closure request for the Grace Food Truck from February 12th through March 13th, Monday through Friday.
I would make a motion to approve that.
Okay, we have motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. Please let us know how that goes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Check on that sales tax thing, because like I say, I don't know. I don't know how they operate.
You just want the food and beverage tax, don't you, Dick? All right, next up is adoption of Lebanon standard. Kevin Krillick.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully you received that in your package. It was a 22-page set of very interesting engineering and construction details and standards. These are our standard details, and we have just been working through a process with Lebanon Utilities and Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to update these. We've actually probably been working on updates to these standards for close to a year now. So we're ready to adopt these. These will, from what I understand, as of just a few moments ago, these probably need to go, we have we have an ordinance in place that adopts these standards. So that will mean this will have to go to the city council. But for now, I feel it's important, because this is an issue of Public Works, that the Board of Public Works adopts or issues some sort of an approval of these documents, and then we can forward that to City Council at their, not this evening's meeting, but their next regularly scheduled meetings, where we could adopt this via ordinance and give it that authority.
Okay. Any questions from the standards that we were shared, that were presented to us?
No.
Okay. And this time then, I would entertain a motion to adopt the Lebanon standards.
I make a motion, we adopt the Lebanon standards.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I think it's Dick. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those are approved. And I guess we'll have those go to City Council now.
Yep, thank you.
Next up, is there any public comment on any issue? Okay. We'll move on to claims then. We'll entertain a motion concerning the claims.
Make a motion, we pay claims?
Motion to pay the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. And any announcements, discussion? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be February 24th at 6:15 PM. Redevelopment Commission is up next.